Assalamu alaikum guys, I am Elias here and in this video we are going to discuss our next topic. But before getting into our discussion, like the request of every YouTuber, it's my request for you to subscribe my channel and don't forget to hit the bell icon so you can get every new update from my channel instantly. Now let's move towards our topic without any further delay. Actually our today's topic is the projectile motion, but it is second part. I have already uploaded first part of this topic in which I have explained the formula for finding the horizontal and vertical components of projectile motion, which you can watch by simply going into the iCard. But before getting into our explanation, I would like to recall what does the projectile motion actually mean. Actually, projectile motion is a two-dimensional motion under constant acceleration due to gravity. Here we have noted 2 points. The first one is two-dimensional motion, means such a motion which has the two dimensions. Actually, an object being projected moves along the horizontal component as well as the vertical component. So we can say that the projectile motion is a two-dimensional motion. The second point is constant acceleration due to gravity. Means projectile motion is such a motion which is only due to the action of gravity. There is no any other force which is causing any change in this motion if we ignore the force of friction. Now let's discuss its examples. Its examples are a missile launched from a launch pad, a football kicked at an angle, etc. are some examples of projectile motion. Now let's discuss the path followed by an object being projected. In this figure, you can see a curved path which is actually the trajectory of the projectile motion, or you can say the path followed by an object being projected. As you can see that an object being projected moves along the horizontal component means the x-axis and the y component means the y-axis according to this figure. So we can say that the projectile motion is a two-dimensional motion. Now we are going to do its explanation. In this case, we study the projectile motion by resolving it into its mutually perpendicular component. Actually, mutually perpendicular component means x and y component. As these components are perpendicular to each other, or you can say they are at an angle of 90 degree to each other, or you can also say that these are at right angle to each other, so they are called the mutually perpendicular component. Let the initial velocities along horizontal and vertical components be vi cos theta and vi sin theta respectively. Actually, cos is used for x component or horizontal component, and sin is used for vertical component or y component. As the velocity along horizontal component is zero, as we have neglected air resistance or any other force acting along this direction, because if there would be no force, then there would be no change in its velocity. So we have Vix is equal to the Vi cos theta. For vertical component, as there is force of gravity acting on object along this direction, so we have Vfy is equal to the Viy sin theta minus gt. Means the final velocity along the y component is equal to the initial velocity along the y component sin theta minus gravitational acceleration multiplied by the time. Actually, with the y component or vertical component, we always use the sign. The magnitude of the velocity at any instant can be found as v is equal to the under root vx square plus vy square. The angle which the velocity makes with positive x-axis can be found as tan pi is equal to the vfy over vix, means final velocity along the y component over initial velocity along the x component. Actually, we have took the velocity as final velocity along the y component and initial velocity along the x component. The reason behind is that along the x component, final velocity is equal to the initial velocity, or initial velocity is equal to the final velocity, because there is no change produced in the velocity because there is no force acting along the x component, but along y component there is the force of gravity. So the final velocity is not equal to the initial velocity along the y component. So it was our discussion of today. I hope you would have benefited from my discussion. If you have any question, then you can simply go to my Instagram and leave your question there. I will try to answer your question as soon as possible. Now I will see you in my next discussion. Till that, Allah Hafiz.